Pastor Thomas Dixon is running for mayor of North Charleston in 2019. And right now, he's focused on issues from homelessness to gun violence. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Pastor Dixon one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores.
Pastor Dixon.
How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing actually great.
Good, good. Myself also.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Here we meet again on a Sunday morning.
Man, it's God's day.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
He makes a way, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Especially when there's a message to be told.
What is your message that needs to be told right now?
Wow, you got a harder question we can start with? No, the message is that I do believe that for Low Country and our nation, that we're going to, right now we're in the labor pains. We're in the labor pains of a movement. Mm-hmm. And ultimately we're going to give birth to a period in America where equality, truth, and justice is going to prevail. And the preservation of that equality, justice, and truth will fall on the next generations if we cultivate the next generations to take that responsibility and run with it. So that's the message that I see.
And obviously, they talked a lot about equality and whatnot at the South Carolina Democratic Party convention really yesterday in Columbia.
Yesterday. Mm-hmm.
Love Columbia. But, tell me, what did you learn from that?
When I think about the party situation,
okay.
I'm not especially a party person, aside from the fact that I know that the value system that the Republicans hold and the hypocrisy that I've seen within their party and the individuals within that party and how those that support that continue to support it, I have to side with the lines of the Dems in association with the Greens and with the Working Family Party. Okay. The people parties, the people, because that's what it's about to me. It's not about the party, it's about people. The only problem is in this two-party majority system we're in order to win elections, you have to ally right at this point in time with the majority party in order to win. So our other parties that are not as large as the Dems, say the Working Families or the Greens, we share the same values with a different emphasis on some things. But overall, it's the same values. When I ran in 2016 and was the candidate also for the Green Party and for the Working Families Party, right, I was challenged by Democrats because of that. And many times I wouldn't tell them anything, but I would read off or recite the 10-point platform of the Green Party and ask them, did they agree with it? And they were like, yeah, without telling them it was the Green Party platform. They were like, yeah, that's great. That's really what we're about. And then I'll tell them, yeah, that's the Green Party platform. So as a representative of that party in this campaign and their support of me in that campaign, it's not that I'm supporting any candidate that they have on the slate. Mm-hmm. It's that they support my stance on these same values and my support of the same values. So for me, it's more about the value system and instilling in those values and supporting those values with an at-large community. It's going to make the world a better place. It's going to make America a better place. It's going to make South Carolina a better place. So yes, I partnered up yesterday with the convention, with the Democratic Convention as a delegate, and I partner with them regularly because those are good friends of mine, because overall, we support the same value system. Now, are they flawed? Absolutely. There's no perfect system on this earth. And it's incumbent on the people to ensure that the flaws are not only detected, but they're also worked out. And when I say the people, I mean all people. When I look at the African American community, there's an inherent problem with those who have blindly supported the Democratic Party without putting certain challenges to them for fair and equal treatment. Instead, we've seen many candidates come in the African American community and they campaign, every 2 years or every 4 years, and then after that, we'll never see them anymore. Basically, they lie. So there's this apathy within the community about even dealing with them now. But overall, for over the years, it has been this blind trust. Blind trust don't work, not in a flawed society. There must be checks and balances. There must be accountability. Our elected officials need to understand that it's not about the promise. It's about the practice. It's about what they actually are going to do as opposed to what they say. And until the people decide that the people are going to hold them accountable for it, then we're going to see misuse of a system. So our people in the African American community have gotten to that point now, have been at that point for a while, that they just distrust the Democratic Party. Many distrust the Democratic Party. Now it's on both the Democratic Party to change that view and also in the community to make them change that view. Frederick Douglass said it, power conceives nothing without demand. It never has and it never will. Until our people band together and say, yes, we will continue to support a Democratic Party, because the Republicans really don't represent anything that we stand for, that benefiting us at all. We will support you, but you're going to do what's necessary to not only respect us, but to benefit our community.
You talk about the community. You talk about trust. You talk about views. I got to take you to Facebook. Obviously, over the past couple of days, people, some Facebook friends of yours, some mutual friends of yours, I don't know if you're still friends with them or not.
Oh,
but,
I am.
Oh,
okay, I am. I don't part friendships over people's ideologies or what they believe. I believe that they're entitled to believe what they want to believe, whether it's true or not.
And most of those people are challenging you, saying that you are an ambulance chaser, you are a media icon, you haven't done anything for the community, especially North Charleston, in which you're running for mayor in 2019. Who is Thomas Dixon?
Thomas Dixon is a person who, for over 30 years of these 65 years that I've been on this earth, contributed to the problems we see in our community through my own personal interactions in the drug community and alcohol community and a lot of the lifestyles that I lived. I contributed to the problems. And one day I woke up, and that was approximately 18, almost 19 years ago. And I realized that the damage that I had done to my community, I accepted the damage that I had done to my community and decided it's time for me to change that around. So I immediately started, when I came out of the prison system in 2001, I started working not long after that with groups that were dealing with reducing recidivism, people coming out of the system and going back. What did I offer at the table? I offered experience. I had been in the prison system. And I brought a voice to the table that wasn't at the table normally, and that's the voice of the ex-offender, who knows exactly what happens on the inside and the obstacles to coming out and staying out. That whole thing changed up a little bit over time, especially about 7 years ago when we started working in the inner city community, in North Charleston specifically now, and Stop the Violence. So gun violence in North Charleston ain't nothing new. It's been happening. The thing is, though, a lot of the people that are talking now and who have all this to say about me, when I was with my boots on the ground in 2012, I saw none of them, not a one. They weren't out there. I was working along with other organizations and groups who are still working along with us in order to at least bring awareness to the gun violence issue in our community, and I was learning along the way about different methods and methodologies that we could employ in order to change the system. One of the things that we tried to do was to partner with police departments in North Charleston, City of Charleston, and everything, because one of the things that I realized was that until we form a bond or a working relationship with the police department in order to fight crime, we're probably not going to get too far. The problem with that was I had opposition from the police department. They refused to get on board. They would not assist. When we had a march in 2013, I believe, right after Chief Driggers took over as chief of police, down in the Wayland. It was after it was a double homicide within 8 hours of each other. One was at, I think, Charlie O's, and the other was over Saratoga Street in the Wayland. Within 8, unrelated, and we decided to go into that community and start trying to change things around and partner up with the police department. Now, Chief Driggers he was just new to the job, and we invited him, and he came and marched with us. And his words were, I'm going to be out here with you all on the ground whenever you need it or whatever. We're going to work together. And that was the last time we saw Chief Driggers. And after that, there was no help or whatever from North Charleston Police Department. Then came Walter Scott. And from that point on, there's been absolutely no real interaction or working relationship between law enforcement and myself. I think I was counted as the enemy. But as the scriptures say, have I become your enemy because I told you the truth? You know, that man killed that man, period. It was murder. And just because I said it was murder, then all of a sudden the law enforcement decided, I guess I'm on the other side of the fence. But to have been working in that area, not only in North Charleston, in the city of Charleston, and there's all kind of allegations out here about me and the city of Charleston and this, that, and the other. Well, a lot of people don't understand, and we can actually call this young man's father, Dwayne German, and who actually was a featured speaker, I believe, last year with Cajun, right, at the Cajun Nehemiah action. But I was working with Dwayne German from the time that his son, Denzel Cornell, was killed. Right. And I was one of the most vocal advocates around here. And those same people that are talking all this smack, they weren't there. They weren't there. You know, so my thing is, you know, I don't understand all of this controversy and everything. I could go step by step over the accusations, because I've seen the accusations. I just don't respond to them, you know. I don't especially watch the videos and all of that because, you know, the scripture says, and I mean this in a loving way because I hope that others would hear and understand. The scripture says that if you answer a fool according to his folly, you become the fool. Now, I'm just going to let that sit right there. So since March 25th, when these accusations started, March 26th, when they started, I've never once responded publicly to these accusations. But when it comes to my getting campaign donations from rich white progressives who now control me, that's a lie out of the pits of hell. Bottom line is, my financial records are online, public record for anybody to look at. Said I'm being paid by John Tecklenburg. My public records, my financial records are public record online. Anybody can take a look at it. Now, when they go find these rich white folks, please let me know, because I'm definitely going to ask them for a donation. But I'll tell them the same thing I tell anybody to donate into my campaign. If you think your donation is going to equate into a favor, keep your money, because that's not what I do. Those who donate into my campaign, and most of it is small donations, small dollar donations, they donate into my campaign in order to support the vision, the mission, the message, and the messenger that I'm bringing forth. That's why they donate into my campaign, not expecting favors. If I gave out favors for people that donated to me, I'd be no different than Mayor Sonny. Why should I even run to replace him if I'm going to be him? I'm not into that. I'm not into that. I don't do corruption like that. And I'm hoping that every candidate in this race is in that quality. I know the mayor's not going to. I mean, he's at 25 years to rise above, and instead he continues to stay in the depths of depravity like that. But the other candidate, I just pray that he rises, he stays above. But one of the things I did notice in this, and I'll point it out, is that in some of the comments on these videos and everything, right, some of his campaign staffers have either liked them or they've actually physically commented. Yes, that's that Pastor Dixon that's running for mayor that he's talking about. I got screenshots of it all, you see. And the thing is now, whether my opponent knows that or not, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that I would be very cognizant of the actions of my campaign staffers, to the point that if anybody within my team did something like that, they would, first off, they would be reprimanded, and then I would actually apologize to my opponent for it. You see, because integrity is what public office is supposed to be about. And my record of integrity is impeccable. And now these people right now are trying to discredit that record. When I look at the gentleman in Somerville, and I still call him a gentleman, and I still count him as a friend. No matter how bad they treat me, I still count him as a friend. I might feed him with a long-handled spoon, but I'm going to call him a friend. But this is a person who's lost 5 races in Somerville. 5 races. Everything from school board to city council. Never won anything. But he's got all this to say about me, my campaign, what I do. I just wish folks that instead of talking about me, go be about making change. All this controversy and carrying on about me and John Tecklenberger, about what I'm doing and whatever, and which is there is no connection when it's all a lie. That same person needs to go ahead on and do what he's telling me I should be doing. That's one of the things that I've always stressed is empowering the community to get involved. Now, for somebody to sit back and have enough time to spend 8 hours or 10 hours out of their lives focusing on me and what I'm not doing, that person got too much time on their hands and needs to really get involved in community work and building our community.
And to be fair, I'm going to interview Mayor Summey this week, and I'm going to interview you. I've appointed John Singletary on April 30th.
Excellent.
So they'll talk about this in depth, I'm sure.
Yes.
But quickly describe to me the following one word. I guess I got, 12 minutes here or so. Okay, describe to me the following one word. Gun violence.
One word. Unnecessary.
The mother suing the secessionist group.
Necessary.
Obviously the tragedy at the Lee Correctional Institution.
Avoidable.
The future of HUD and the city of Charleston.
Well, I'm looking for a good word on this one. Complicated. Complicated. One word, complicated. I know you're going to say elaborate on that.
Oh, please.
There's a problem existing that's been allowed to happen, for one thing. And in that allowance, it's deeply rooted. And so to overcome this obstacle, we're going to have to dig very deep. In the HUD situation, the land trust situation. There's so many different things that we're dealing with affordable housing. One of the things I would say that's going to clear up the complications will be CAJM's Nehemiah rally on the 30th.
Right.
Because this year they've targeted affordable housing.
Right.
And they're going to be very specific, as they always are. That's something else about CAJM. People who don't know about CAJM or never been involved of it understand that there's a rally and then there's actually the Nehemiah action, and the mayors and them don't come to the rally, like was said by somebody. Well, I went there and the mayors wasn't there, they wasn't even there. Well, that was the rally. They don't even come to that. But you got to be a part of CAJM to know that. And I've been a part of CAJM since before CAJM hit the ground, really. So they're dealing with the law enforcement issues in downtown and things in North Charleston, and all of the other issues, the school system and everything. I've been an integral part of that all along, so I don't need to hold another press conference to stand alongside of CAJM and deal with it. But I believe that there's going to be some challenges made on the 30th, and there's going to be some decisions made that's going to facilitate making that difficult situation better. I think we need to put some things on the table. Let me just put it that way. I think we need to put some more things on the table, if I leave it like that. I'd like to go back over, too, since we're allowed to expand on the one word with that one.
Okay.
The issue with the secessionist party and the lawsuit. Ms. Green, as I'm sitting here actually as the family spokesperson.
Okay.
And that's the difference between myself and other people who like to talk mess about me. While these folks were out here doing whatever they had to do in the aftermath of that, knowing this was a black woman with 2 black children who were out just for a friendly picnic and everybody hated what happened, nobody stood with her for this last year and made this happen, this lawsuit happen that hopefully in the end is going to put Bessinger and his whole thing out of business. I don't know whether they were on the battery this morning, but I'm waiting to hear a word back that they didn't show up on the battery. They've already publicly said they're going to stop passing out flags. Now, I know it's a big thing in Somerville about passing out the little Confederate flags and everything. Because of my diligence and the diligence of an attorney, one of those white liberal attorneys, after a year of putting this together, we were able to file this lawsuit that in less than a day's time, all of a sudden, we're not going to pass out any more flags and stuff like that. So there's people like to run off at the mouth and carrying on. That's all they're doing is running off at the mouth. I'm about results. I'm about results. During that same year, one of the persons that's involved with this whole thing, name calling and everything, Shakim, after that whole thing, he befriended Bessinger and had press conferences with him. They powering up and everything, you know. He didn't hold Bessinger accountable for what happened with that picture. Then he turned around and we have the most blatant white nationalists come to the Citadel Republican Society, and we have a rally to at least speak out against that. And where is he at? Sitting at the table up inside of there with them. So for this person to continually call himself calling me out, call me a sellout, call me a coon, a bootlicker, I have to stop and think about, I'm wondering who it really is. Who really is there? But I know for me, I'm out here on this ground pounding. Folks might not see it. When the lead correctional jumped off, that was a drive there. Wasn't to chase no cameras. It was about getting the word out that this is wrong. And we need prison reform in order to make this stop so it doesn't happen anymore. And it's happening every day. While this whole controversy has been going on, I've been meeting with people about ensuring that those that are in our county jails are registered to vote. So those that are eligible, who don't have any charges or haven't been to court, are registered to vote and making that the process is easier. We got a couple more steps to go through the Sheriff's Department. I've been putting out the word about ex-felons being able to vote. See, I don't have time for all that controversy and all of that. There's people out here hurting. And as long as Pastor Dixon is here, I'm going to be out here on this ground pounding to make sure that people don't hurt in areas where we can help that. Be it gun violence, prison reform, helping out a mother whose children were misrepresented by the Confederate Party, whatever it might be. I'm going to be out here grinding, trying to make sure that liberty and justice for all happens. And that's why I'm running for the mayor of North Charleston. Because I've sat back and I've watched an unjust system, and I've asked, I supported my opponent in 2015, right. But I also told him at the end of that race, you need to get on out here. I'll support you again, you got to get on out here. 2 years he sat back and did nothing. And all of a sudden, I say, okay, it's on. It's gone. We need to move this dude, move somebody out of there. I'm going to run. And now all of a sudden we see an activity. We see an activity in North Charleston City Hall. I might not address everything with you. There ain't nobody. I hate when people think our community is stupid, be it from the City Hall aspect or even a community member that thinks our people are so stupid that somebody has to outline every time that a political move for gaining an election is made. And the community knows that Reggie was elevated in his status in order to help the community feel better about something for this next election. They know that. Because if not, if it wasn't so, Reggie would have been elevated in 2012. He had the experience then, at 23, 24 years in. He had the experience then. They're talking about his experience, and that's a deflection. Because if his experience is what gave him the job now, and growing up in the community and all that, he had that in 2012 when they brought a chaplain in over him with no experience. You see, I could go into all of those things, but I don't need to, and folks need to stop underestimating our community and working with that slave mentality that says our community is too stupid to figure out what's going on. Now, the closer we get, the more we get to 2019, I guarantee you, the more, and I'll say this directly into the camera, the more aggressive I'm going to get in my campaign. But until then, and anybody that wants to know about my platform, what I stand for, I'd suggest that they go back and they look at my Facebook page and go through some of the 260 some odd photo albums there and see the work I've been doing. That's the stuff that I stand for. And if anybody expects me to be specific about my platform right now, I'm not going to do it. Because it's like, it's Super Bowl next week, and I take my playbook and give it to the opposition. Here's my playbook. I'll see you next week on the field. I'm not that dumb. I come from a long line of people who worked in the hood and in those situations, and I know strategy is what wins. So, you know, all of those folks is trying to try my hand to force me, and I think that the people of North Charleston and the people of the Low Country, in the fact that I've stayed reserved in this whole thing when my character has been under attack constantly, okay, I think they're looking at somebody that they can say, man, this brother here, they tried him, he stayed true to what he was supposed to do, and then turned around and got a lawsuit put through to shut down the secessionist party in South Carolina while they were talking mess about him. I think that's going to go a little ways.
And one word to describe homelessness in Charleston and North Charleston?
Fixable. Fixable. And without sharing my platform, sure, I do have a plan. But for those that talk mess about me about that, go back through the albums. You'll see me out there. Ask the people who have been on the ground dealing with homelessness. I've been out there working with the homeless for a long time. You know, we can go to Project Street Outreach. We can go to Family to Family, Family Fam with Lisa. Those folks, they know. They know. It's the people who want to do one or two things, either invent a lie about me or don't know enough to even research, who would believe something like that. And I do believe that's where the attacks are targeted at, people who don't really know or whatever. So they're presenting these lies as if they're the truth, and the reality is nothing but lies. That's all. And once a lie, you leave that right there.
Pastor Thomas Dixon and mayoral candidate Thomas Dixon, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you, Quintin. I appreciate you. You're a man, a scholar, a gentleman, and a scholar.
Thank you greatly.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
once again on your newest award. When I grow up, I want to be like you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you greatly. I really appreciate it.
All righty.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.